Hey dudes, I'm recording this right before I'm going to bed and just got a little, I got a little kick, decided I need to make a video. I haven't made one in a while. I've actually got a lot of things I want to talk about, mostly movie related, so I'll save that for another time, but I felt like I needed to talk about Mass Effect. Now, I played through, I should just make it clear, I loved Mass Effect 2. Hands down the best game of 2010, followed by Red Dead Redemption. But that was still, there was a leap between those two, a pretty big leap. And I'm psyched for Mass Effect 3. I mean, just seeing what they did with Mass Effect 2, how they just sort of changed the entire thought process, how they changed the that game did things that no other game has ever done in its way of making it so that you had to think of your think of the consequences of your actions, not only from the perspective of, will this bite me in the ass later in the game, but will it bite me in the ass the next game I play. The story was great, the characters were all very deep, and fiction around it, I mean, I'm not even talking outside of the game, but the fiction in the world around you. There was a lot to read about the planets, about the races and all that stuff. And then there are all these, comic books and normal books and stuff that fill in the fiction that I have not delved into that deep. I've read the comic books so far, and they're great, and I really like them. But anyway, I'm getting sort of sidetracked. I played through Mass Effect: The Arrival, which is the final DLC for Mass Effect 2, which is supposed to act as a bridge between Mass Effect 2 and 3. Now, what The Arrival really is, it's sort of built like the other DLC packs. It's nothing special like gameplay-wise. The story is, I'm not going to spoil it for you. The story is that Shepard gets contacted by Admiral Stephen Hackett, who is, as far as I know, he's the guy that, at least in the first Mass Effect, gives you all your side quests. He sends you all these messages, gives you side quests. So now we get to see him, which is pretty cool. He sends you, and only you, on a mission to find this scientist who has found a Reaper artifact. And so they send you into this little Batarian-ruled star system that you have to infiltrate a base. And again, only Shepard. That's the only real gameplay change here, is that it's only Shepard. So that means if you're playing this stuff on hardcore or insanity, and I think there's an achievement for beating this on hardcore. That gets really fucking tough, because you really need to know your shit. And I don't play this game on hard difficulties because I just want to enjoy the story. That's why I play Mass Effect. In fact, I'm one of those gamers that usually doesn't play games at all for the sake of challenge, because my thought has always been that era of video games kind of died when story was introduced. And a story, the reason why film is my major is because I care most about story over gameplay. But anyway, if you're playing on a harder difficulty, you have no one to interact with. You better just fucking try and be good with your Shepard, because that's all you have. Anyway, so the first part of the mission can actually play like a stealth game. There's an achievement for getting through the entire first half of the game. I mean through the DLC pack without being detected. And then it becomes more of a confrontation. Once you find this scientist, you have to shoot your way out. But the whole thing is that she's found this Reaper artifact, and basically she's at this Batarian station, and mild spoilers, because she's discovered that the Reapers are coming to this star system, and the only way to really stop it is to do something terrible here. Basically, they have to mess this whole star system up pretty damn badly just to stop the Reapers, to keep the Reapers preoccupied and get the hell out of there, so the Reapers can't jump on the Mass Effect relay of this star system. And because if they get onto if they get on the Mass Effect relay, they'll be able to get to any Mass Effect relay in the entire galaxy, and boom, done. Uh, my problem with The Arrival, I gotta say right away, I'm not that impressed with The Arrival. Story-wise, it's sort of it's good. It's good. It doesn't really deliver a story that is that compelling because there's not really that much of it. But it at least really hammers home what is to come, which I guess is the whole point. The story itself isn't great, but then again, it's not supposed to be because it's not. It's one mission, and one mission like Shadowbroker had a great like story, but only because of the fact that it was a story that had been talked about in the main game. This is just like not self-contained because it's indeed something that will come into play with the rest of the game, like the rest of the series, but overall, it's just like this little like add-on. It's really just an add-on. Shadowbroker, on the other hand, is a thing that has been implied through the entire Mass Effect 2, and therefore you're following up on something you already know about. This entire thing is just made to like really just underline the fact that shit's gonna get fucked up in the next game, and this is the first like real moment when you realize, oh crap, you can't save everybody. You can't. Basically, no matter if you play Renegade or Paragon, this won't end well for anyone involved. And that's just pretty much how I think Mass Effect 3 is gonna be. And I think that's what BioWare has made this for, just to make you realize, dude, whatever you do, it's gonna get fucked up. But yeah, gameplay-wise, the only new thing is that you're alone. You don't have any other people to draw your fire. And that is where this entire thing really falls apart. Because even though it creates this really tense situation, I played Paragon mostly, but there was one moment specifically here where you get like the context-sensitive action, where you can choose to do Renegade thing, or you can just do the Paragon thing, where I was like, right away, I was at the point where even though I was trying to play this Paragon, I'm like, you know what, fuck that shit, and just pulled the trigger and did the bad thing, because it was like, you know what, galaxies at stake, dude, I don't care anymore. And that's gotta be said for something, but it's still only, just like Shadowbroker, just like Overlord, like gameplay-wise, the one DLC pack that actually does shake it up the most is Stolen Memories, the one with Kasumi, which was the first one, ironically. That was because that one was, more like a heist. You had to actually think about what you were doing. It wasn't just shoot and then have moments of story. Also, Overlord has some pretty interesting things in it story-wise, and Shadowbroker, like, even though it is just shoot and story in between there somewhere, and you pretty much play for an hour and a half just to get to the story part, the story payoff is so worth it that everything else is like, you can forgive everything else. But since Shadowbroker exists, and we've already seen one DLC pack that's pretty much just shoot and then get story, this falls flat because of that. If Shadowbroker didn't exist, I would be easier on this. I wouldn't go as hard on it. But when you have an hour's worth of DLC, which is pretty much just 5 minutes of story in the beginning, 5 minutes of story, like a third in, another 5, another third in, and then maybe like 5 to 10 minutes at the end, it doesn't really feel like it's not bad, obviously not. It's still Mass Effect, and as I told you, it does really strengthen the point that we're at the beginning of the end, and that things are going to get really, really bad. But the gameplay's not shaken up at all, and when all is said and done, yes, I'm psyched for Mass Effect 3, but I am not more psyched for Mass Effect 3 than I was before I played this, and that's got to be considered a failure. And honestly, I recommend this for anyone who wants some Mass Effect fix, but only because I hope that everyone who wants to play Mass Effect 3 wants to know everything that's happened. Other than that, I can't really recommend this DLC pack as anything special. I know I'm coming off sounding like I'm recommending stuff and not recommending it at the same time. Mass Effect junkies have already bought it or will buy it, and they should, because it's more Mass Effect. And as I said, it does give you the certain tone that's going to probably cement itself even further in Mass Effect 3. But it could have been a whole lot more, and honestly, I would have been happier if Shadow Broker had been the last DLC for Mass Effect 2, because it was better. At least the story payoff was better. And I kind of think the environments were better too. The thing is that even though Shadow Broker was just like a in-game mission, but that you paid for and got a little more awesome story, and at least at the end when you get to the Shadow Broker ship, that environment is so really cool that you just forget about the fact that it's just a generic level of the game, just a generic like gameplay mechanic. Can't forget about that here. It's too obvious. And as I said, the story payoff, although still dramatically like heavy, is not big enough to warrant that it just feels like more of Mass Effect 2. I don't really have a whole lot more to say about that. I feel like I've already repeated myself enough. Okay, Pack. I don't really want to start giving ratings, but I did write a review for the Swedish website that I write reviews for, and I gave it a 7 out of 10, because story-wise, it's good. Gameplay-wise, it's still Mass Effect. Just, like, if you don't go to Mass Effect for your shooter fix, and that's where this falls apart, because as a gameplay, I'd almost rather just watch this for like 10-20 minutes than actually play it. So, yeah. Talk to you later. My next thing is probably going to be, I'm going to do a comparison of I Am Number 4, the movie and the book, because I actually was fucking stupid enough to read the book. Maybe I'll do something else. Don't know. Talk to you later.